What's up guys, Cody here, and welcome back to, once again, another TV2 on Napoleon Total War. So today, we're going to be on the pyramids, and I'm going to be in command of the Ottomans. So with me today, we have Elite over here on the right flank. He's going to be in command of the Russians. And then finally, we're going to be facing the Prussians. So on our right flank, their left flank, we have Kicking Butt. And then finally on the left flank we have Tip, and they're both going to be in command of Prussia. So what we're going to be doing at the start of the battle is we're going to try and assault this hill. Now, in the chat, I didn't read Elite's message, so I did not get that. So, I formed up on the far side, so it's going to take me a lot longer to get in position. But what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and assault this hill and try and take it, because whoever has this hill advantage is going to probably win this game. So we know that, and we're going to push up. You see Elite's already prepared, sending in a lot of cavalry. Hussars, got some 17th Regiment, a lot of cool guys. And he also has some militia that are going to be coming in handy very shortly in this battle. So the battle has begun. You see Tip is prepared. He is ready to move out. His army is in column formations. And he's going to be pushing up this hill, and he has some lancers here. Actually, it looks like 2 lancers, some Freikorps, and some Hussars. But you can see he's going to be pushing up in a massive force. Ooh, getting some lag there, that's strange. There we go, now it's good. But he's going to be pushing up in a massive force. It looks like he has 8 musketeers, 9 musketeers actually. He's got an 8th Life Regiment and some foot guards, and then finally 4 Fusiliers, or Prussian Fusiliers. So you see Kicking Butt's going to try and take this hill right here, but Elite is not going to allow him to do that. Prussia has 1 less cav unit, but he does have the skill, so we will see how this turns out. You see the engagement's about to begin. 2 clashes of massive nations, and here we go. So the engagement has begun, and you see I am going to be pushing up as fast as possible. I see this engagement happening, so I'm going to try and send in some of my Supply cavalry, very elite cavalry. But you see, Russia is really not looking too great right now, even though they do have the numbers. Actually, it's even right now, but they're not looking good. Morale is not going their way whatsoever, and you see my Supply cavalry trying to get a charge in. Looks like these Lancers did get a charge into those Russian Jaegers, but those guys did get mowed down pretty heavily at the start of that charge. Now over here on the left flank, I'm going to be engaging these Lancers as well. Supply cavalry up against those guys. 30 up against 39, still very even odds, but you see Prussia has taken this hill with ease, and he's going to be controlling it for the most part. Getting some nice shots in with my musketeers, or my lights, and then I'm going to continue to charge with my cavalry. And you can see those Hussars, they did get that downhill charge, but still unable to take out a lot of my guys. So Russia's going to be pushing up now in a massive force. You can see Kicking Butt sending down his his cavalry, but they're going to get slaughtered, and all of those guys do rout. But he did keep these Russians back just a little bit longer, so it's going to allow him even more time to push up his line infantry now. You see massive engagement here. Another cavalry, Freikorps against some of my cavalry here. But you can see Just the Tip getting a nice push in right now, and he's going to be able to form up much quicker than I am, and he does have the hill advantage. So taking all these things into consideration, good shots there by the musketeers on my cavalry. I did see that, so I'm going to be pulling my cav back, but he's going to follow up with this Freikorps. I did get some nice shots off with my lights, but seeing that he has the hill advantage and more lights than me on this left flank, I'm going to pull back as fast as possible. You can see I'm a little bit slow to do that. Taking quite a few losses here, but I do manage to pull back. Over here, the Russians are now engaging. You see these lights are in quite a bad position right now. They're losing way too many guys. They're getting some decent shots off, but they pretty much break on impact, and that's because they're getting shot friendly fire and from the enemies, so definitely not in a good position there. Over here, the Freikorps getting slaughtered by my troops, but he is keeping me back off this hill, so that is good on his end. So I do have the cavalry advantage over Tip. You see he has no more cavalry now since I have taken them out, so I'm going to be reforming. You see my shape here, and this battle is going to be engaged on this hill pretty much the entire time. Prussians do have better lights than the Russians or the Ottomans, So we're taking that into consideration as well. But you see this light engagement is just fierce right now. Not too many losses, but they're going to start adding up very, very shortly. Look at all these Russians here, all these light infantry, insane amount. And look at this, looks like the Freikorps has come back, or excuse me, Russian militia has come back. But you see he does have a really good position here. Looks like our general's under attack. I do not think so. I think some stray volleys are getting close to his position, but no losses in that unit. But you can see he's going to try and reposition his light, so I'm going to try and push up and try to get some volleys off if I can, and I'm going to try and keep tip on this left flank. So this is going to allow my ally time to engage his opponent without, you know, being threatened by his ally or his allied enemy. So I'm trying to do some fake charges here with my cavalry, trying to make him pull back and, you know, allow Russia to claim this hill. But right now, still 50-50 on who's going to be claiming it. See, some stray volleys are actually killing his own troops, or killing his troops. You can see their numbers are dwindling as well, getting pretty low. So right now, I'm going to be shifting over 3 line infantry units, and this is going to help Elite in his push. And here we go. I'm sending some cavalry out now, trying to make sure he, you know, falls off this hill. So you see the edge of the map is right here. We are on the border of it. So what I'm going to try and do here is I'm going to try and make sure, you know, he tries to pull off this hill, but also I want him to make sure he's not firing. And that's going to allow the Russians to get some nice volleys in while I'm doing that. So I'm going to continue the charge, but seeing that he formed square, I'm going to be pulling back instantly. Over here, still silent, no engagements whatsoever. You see them up on the hill, it's just a staring contest right now. But Russia is going to be able to flank the Prussians now, so it's kind of swapping sides here, getting some nice volleys off on those lights, and this is going to allow me time to push up my own infantry now. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to push up my infantry and my lights as well, and they're going to start engaging on this hill. So 85 guys up against 87, so very even odds, but like I said, Prussian lights are very good, so I'm going to have to make sure I am using them effectively. So here we go, classic Russian charge, and they're going to be charging straight into these Prussian lights. Now Kicking Butt should be pulling back, but it looks like he's not, and he's going to be sticking in with this engagement. And here goes the first melee clash, and you can see those lights just got destroyed here. I'm going to send in some of my cavalry and push them into the engagement as well, try and prevent them from firing. And you can see that's exactly what I'm going to try and do. You can see morale here for Prussia is getting really bad right now. It's turning into the red, and if we can break this left flank, it's going to allow us a lot, you know, more opportunities to push up. And there we go, one unit down, and the other one is just about to break. So good job there by Elite, pushing up his melee troops. He's still continuing this charge. You can see he's losing a lot of guys in the process, though. Looks like the Russian flag bearers tipping over. Will he make it? He is now engaged. Very bloody engagement right now. Will he survive? Captain getting a kill. Very nice. Very cool to look at. So with those guys in score, it's going to allow the Russians to even further push up with minimal losses because they are in square formation. Over here, the light engagement has started. Let me see. So on the right flank, I'm using this tactic. I'm going to be pushing up 2 of my line infantry and my lights. So I'm going to try and outflank the enemy. But over here, you can see the Russian push is starting to die down a little bit. The momentum has kind of stopped. And you can just see the amount of reserves that Prussia still has to offer with the 8th Life and foot guards. So still very elite troops, and it looks like these Prussians are going to try and charge into the Musketeers, but Musketeers are well defended and do break those guys on impact. I'm going to continue to charge in with my cavalry, hopefully cause some damage, and do some fake charges here and there, so he doesn't know when I'm going to truly strike. And you see right there, I'm going to be pulling back once again, but over here doing a really good job at depleting this one line unit. I'm trying to find my 2v1 scenarios, and this is exactly what I want to be doing. Using my firepower to my advantage, and even though I am up, you know, fighting an uphill battle, having, you know, 2 lines up against 1 is really helpful. So what I'm going to try and do here is I'm going to try and bring this engagement as far out as possible and trying to, you know, even the battleground basically. So if I can pull his troops outwards, you know, it's going to allow Elite more time, and, you know, he doesn't have to face with as many troops. So by pushing these guys outward, it's really going to help me out. I'm actually really surprised right now my lights are doing so well. I mean, 60 up against, you know, 69, 77 up against 74. It's still very even engagement. And, you know, knowing that Prussian lights are very superior, I am very impressed with these Ottoman lights. You see, still getting some nice kills over there. That guy is dying, shot in the stomach, as well as his allies. But over here, the Russian push is really dying down, like I said. Another Russian charge here, and he's really going to have to rely on melee troops. And speaking of melee troops, I do have 1 melee troop over here. Got some Janissaries. So seeing that he has 4 line infantry over here, and one of them is consisting of the 8th Life Regiment, I'm going to try and keep my distance and back away from that engagement. You see, I'm going to pull back my guys as much as possible because I know for a fact I'm not going to win that engagement. So over here, my line is still pushing up, actually going to be pulling them back. But over here, my guys are still pushing up. You can see that 1 Musketeer unit is really depleted right now. But his morale is still pretty high. Another good charge here on my end. But those guys do break on impact, so that is not good. And the Lifeguard of Foot now are engaging. The elite troops of Russia are now engaged with the Prussians, shooting their own guys. Oh man, no mercy. Shooting their own guys. Wow. Reminds me of Stalin in World War II. No one was allowed to retreat. Same with Hitler, he did similar tactics, but Prussians are showing a little bit more mercy here, allowing his troops to retreat. But with that said, Russians are still engaging, losing a lot of guys in this push here, but they're trying to use their melee to their advantage. See my supply cavalry stuck in up against some guys in square formation. That is never good for my unit. But over here, my massive push is now engaging. Now let me pause this real quick. So what I'm going to do here is I pushed up my line infantry and knights. So these 2 Prussian units actually, you know, fired their volleys at, you know, units that weren't as important. You see me right here charging over my guys. Very disrespectful. But anyways, I'm going to be charging in my cavalry. Now what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to be targeting these light infantry, and just check this out. So charging them in because I know how effective these guys are, and I need these guys off the battlefield. So there are 4 lights at the moment that I need to take out with only 2 or 3 cavalry units, including my general. And just take a look. Morale here is getting really bad. Likewise down here, I'm going to start charging downhill. Charge into the square, not a smart idea, but I'm going to continue my charge downhill. And my line infantry is also engaging, and just look at that. Those Prussian lights, you know, really decent numbers at the start, now turned into pretty much nothing, and they are going to be all gone from the battlefield. So in my eyes, I thought that was a huge success, and this is going to allow me to have, you know, extra light infantry and have that range advantage over him. So he can have the hill, but I can definitely have the range advantage now. Russia over here continuing to charge with his lights, or his line infantry. Very nice charge here. This is going to be running down all his line units. Just take a look at this. Very big clash in cavalry. Pushing his general up here as well for morale. Good job there. And he's also pushing up more musketeers as well. So great job there. And it is very even right now. But like I said, Prussia still has those reserves, and it looks like he's going to be pushing them up right now. Russia is beating back this front line, but he has to get prepared for this next wave. The 8th Life Regiment is now pushing up on his positions, but he's going to continue the melee engagement. Very successful right now. These guys are winded, so they're still very healthy in terms of their stamina. Just charging one after the other into the next Prussian unit. So right now he's pretty much claimed the hill advantage, but with very few troops. You see still some engagements on this left flank here, but on the far left, Prussia looks like he's going to be falling back, seeing that Russia is, being very successful in his push. But now Russia is losing his stamina, so he's gonna, or not his stamina, his push, or his numbers, excuse me. So he's going to be falling back because he knows the 8th Life Regiment and foot guards will slaughter him. But he won that pretty decisively. Now seeing that Tip's going to be pushing up some units, I'm actually going to be pushing up my own units here. And this is going to help lead out in, you know, making sure he can secure that hill. It's not the most units, but it's definitely going to help him out, just because I need my fair amount to, you know, help with my own engagement over here with Tip, and he still has a lot of elite troops over here, and a lot of line infantry. So here we go, forming up my line infantry, have my Safai cavalry on standby, in case I need to push them up. They are there whenever needed. And now, I mean, just take a look at the bodies. Unbelievable amount. You get the cav charge over here, cav engagement, and then just the sheer bloodbath of troops being just annihilated on both sides. Looks like we have someone frozen. Looks like he's just out of his mind, just scared, so he's gonna be a mannequin. Actually, we got 2 mannequins. I don't know what these Prussians are doing today. Don't know. Anyways, Russians are going to be holding their ground. Like I said, I'm going to try and help the push. But yeah, you see routing troops, not really a good use of my bullets. And you see right here, using these units as a meat shield, but he's really not following up, and he needs to be right now, because these guys are all reloading. And this would be a great time for these Prussians to push up the hill, but instead they're going to be sitting back on their own end. And the action is about to pick up on my side, so my game plan was to try, like I said, make sure my lights get in range. I'm trying to rest them up right now. And what I want to do is try and take down as many of these Prussian troops as I possibly can, and just limit his numbers. But over here you can see Tip's bringing some Prussian foot guards here. Very elite troops, and I only have 2 regular line infantry to counter them. You can see they're getting shot at right now. Morale instantly dropping, but they are below the hill, so they're not going to be taking any losses. So that is good. And over here the engagement has picked up. Square formation, great job here by Elite. He's using this range. It's going to allow Elite to get some couple extra volleys off. I still don't get why these guys are just frozen here. Intrigues me. Anyways, I'm continuing to push up, and I'm going to try and outflank as much as possible from these Prussians. But still, very even battle on both sides. You know, with Prussia having the hill on this right flank, it's going to make it very challenging for me to, you know, assault this with success. But over here, the engagement's about to begin. You see they're lining up with one another. And it seems that the Russians might be able to get first volleys if they... Actually, no. Actually, we'll see, we'll see. Here are cav charts here, and look at this. The general wants payback. Seeing that his own lights got slaughtered, he's going to try and come for mine. Great tactic here. I instantly try to switch over and shoot as many of these guys as I possibly can. You know, good volleys, but still not enough to do it, and he gets a great charge in on my lights here. So what I'm going to try and do is going to pull back my line infantry, or light infantry, seeing that his musketeers are now engaging, and he is causing a lot of chaos amongst my lights, especially with there's, you know, being no cav support on my end. So I'm hoping I can break these guys and kill his general, because that would really influence the morale of these Prussians. See, I did break them, and the general is now dead, so morale has gone very... not very bad, but it can go very bad shortly if these Prussians don't, you know, work effectively. But over here, it looks like the engagement's about to begin. Now, I wanted to turn these guys off fire at will because they were going to be shooting the hill, but me not thinking, they did end up shooting the hill here. And looking at these Sedite infantry, they are very out of position right now. So seeing that I shot the hill, I'm going to be pushing my guys up now. A little higher, it's still not great. A lot of my guys are still going to be shooting the hill. And it's always helpful if you guys want to get some really nice volleys in. Make sure to, you know, get eye level with your troops so you can see if they're going to be shooting the terrain or their intended targets. So seeing that my guys on the right flank or center, middle of the engagement, are in some trouble, I'm actually going to be pushing up my lights here. and hopefully help with this engagement. Because if I can start chewing on or taking out his flank, it's really going to help me. You see that first shot, very accurate. Let's take a look here. They're going to be dropping like flies very shortly. A lot of good shots right now into those Prussians, and they're dropping very rapidly. A lot of kill shots. So while that is happening, it looks like these musketeers are actually going to be charging into my line of infantry. I do form square here, prepared for the charge, and I do have some sedate infantry here, and they're going to be engaging the foot guard, so not a good engagement whatsoever. So I'm going to be shifting over some of my own line now to try and help this engagement. You see Russia's been engaging with these Prussians on this hill over here. I still have my cavalry, so that is good, but look at this. Foot guards are now charging in. I do form square in the nick of time, but it's going to get very bloody for me. Over here, you see I'm extending my flank even more now, and you see he is, you know, on the totally opposite side of this hill, so this is great positioning on my end. But he still has that 8th Life Regiment, and I am still losing this engagement right here. So I need to push up my lights now, and quick. But seeing that there is an elite unit right here, I'm actually going to try and switch over my lights to fire at this unit, because I know how deadly this unit can be. So taking out these guys out of the battle would be very helpful. Tip notices that, so he's actually going to be shifting over to my side. But look at this, the Prussians are doing a really good job at breaking my guys right now. And it's all due to these foot guards. These guys are very, very deadly. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to push up my general. Wish he was running, didn't notice that. And push up my general and trying to help inspire these guys. Over here it looks like the generals are clashing. We got the Prussian general up against the Russian general, and he does end up dying. Russian general is dead, so that's going to really hurt his morale. But over here, still trying to inspire my guys, and what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get behind these Prussian foot guards, so I can get behind them and get a really nice downhill charge on these guys from the back. So it's taking a lot of time to do that. You can see these Prussians are now trying to chase after my cavalry. But look at this. Russia is being very successful right now and winning this hill. So we have successfully taken the right side of the hill. Only a few units left on it. Other than that, you know, it's not looking too great for Prussia. He still has some pretty elite troops, and my general's still trying to charge in. Killing a few guys. You can see him right here, all by himself right now. Very brave general, and he does end up dying. His general bodyguards, poor job at defending him, and I see that, and I'm going to pull them back because they still are a cav unit in my eyes, but they're going to get shot at very heavily right now. So with the right flank one and the left flank still very powerful, we're going to try and pinch these Prussians on both sides. So you see I still have a small force here on this hill consisting of 2 units. Both with very low numbers, and I'm actually going to be charging into these 8th Life Regiment. My guys are out of ammunition right now, and this is going to be the perfect time for me to push up this hill. So finally, my guys are able to push, you know, the majority of my army is able to try and run up this hill. Looks like these guys are going to charge back. We're going to have another clash and an engagement over here. Over here, Russia enjoying his hill right now, consisting of only 2 lifeguard units, but they are up against some foot guards as well. But over here, getting some good shots in with my lights, and what I'm going to try and do here is I'm going to try and use my lights as a meat shield. See, being very effective right now, and this is going to allow my line infantry to push up with minimal losses. So good job there on my end. And now I'm going to try and push up the hill, but Tip still has a very, very powerful force up here. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and flank around, and I'm actually going to charge in my Janissaries now. So I'm going to try and get my guys in a small column formation just so my guys don't get friendly fired as much. And you see that right there. They're getting a little bit more compact here, and they're going to be charging right into those musketeers. But my guys are getting some really good volleys off on those musketeers. A lot of those guys are dying. And here we go. Morale is getting very bad for these Prussians just because I'm outflanking as well as melee charging. Finally, my Janissaries get to see some combat. Oh, he got stabbed. Over here, we got the Prussian general now trying to get some good kills in. He is still alive. And let's see. I believe he will escape. Yes, he will. There he is, right here. Or no, is that him? Anyways, it is not looking good for Prussia. Still very, very close game, but we have won the engagement. See those musketeers trying to fend off the Ottomans, but it is too late, and we have won the game. So, good game to my ally and enemy, or opponents. You see kicking butt, and just a tip there. Let's look at the kills. So, Elite on top, 1,500 kills, very good job there. I myself with 1,200 kills, not too bad. My KD was positive, so I will take it. Kicking butt, also doing a really good job, 1,100 kills, and then just a tip, pretty much 1,100 kills as well. So great job all around. Let's take a look at the unit statistics. Sadit Infantry on top, 177 kills, nothing too surprising about. But anyways, guys, sorry for the lack of videos. Once again, just a lot of schoolwork and so on. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys later.